What's up guys, today we'll be going over the new exotic rocket launcher in Shadowkeep, Deathbringer. And excuse me because I'm a little bit sick, but bear with me, we're going to go ahead and break down this weapon. We will quickly go over how to get it, not break down in full detail every step. Then also be breaking down how good the weapon is in PvE, including damage per second, total damage, and things like that. So to start this quest line, once you complete the main campaign and you get the weekly bounties from Eris, the first one right here, which rewards the firewall data fragment, is the one that will turn into this exotic weapon. There are multiple quest steps that are pretty straightforward, like this one for example is 3 lost sectors on the moon. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. I'm not going to break down every single step. There is one step I'll give a quick tip on, which is the one where you have to kill the 3 different enemy types: minors, majors, then bosses. What we did is run this nightmare hunt over and over again and did it 10 times for the boss kills, and by the time we got the 10 boss kills we were done with the other stuff also. And this one right here only took roughly 4 minutes, sometimes even less than 4 minutes to complete, so roughly 40 to 50 minutes to do all 10, which wasn't too bad. But all the other quest steps are pretty straightforward. If you do need a guide, I'm sure there are guides on YouTube already. But let's go ahead and start breaking down the weapon. First with the exotic perk, fires remotely detonated projectiles that drop void orbs on enemies. Hold mouse 1 to fire, release to detonate. Then its other perk is Dark Descent. The further a void orb falls, the more powerful the detonation becomes. So let's go ahead and test and see what this looks like on Spooky Greg. So first, just shooting straight at him, you see it hits like 51, 67 a bunch of times. Now we start aiming a little bit further away from them and make the projectiles, travel further. As you see, the further they travel, the more damage they do. So now if we shoot straight above them and, let them fall forever, it hits roughly 14,533, which was the max I got. No matter how long the projectiles traveled, it always capped out at that number, which is probably the highest buff you can get, which is 2.8x times more damage than just shooting straight at them. So it's definitely worth shooting above an enemy, and as you see, there are 7 of these projectiles per shot, which means you're going to be doing 101,000 damage if you aim above a target and all 7 hit them, which is pretty good for a single shot of a weapon. And as you see, this lost sector changed to 750 light, so these numbers are going to be inflated compared to my previous videos, but everywhere in the game is now 750 light at minimum, so we're going to have to redo a lot of numbers, and that's going to be like the new baseline. As you see, we're testing the rate of fire. Shooting off 5 shots took 10.3 seconds, which means the DPS would be just under 50,000, which once again, the numbers are definitely inflated from previous videos because the minimum light in the game is now 750. So in a future video, we'll be breaking down a bunch of just, standard DPS of new weapons just to get a baseline of the new light level of the game and the new way the damage numbers stack and things like that. Right here, I'm showing off that reserves do work with this weapon. So with 2 reserves, you'd have 8 total ammo, which would be 813,000 total damage output, which once again is actually pretty good. But single target damage isn't where this gun really shines. It shines really for ad clear, as you see right here. Just aiming above a group of enemies is almost like the old Ghorn. The gun feels a lot like the old Dragon's Breath, where you shoot it up in the air, and once you release the trigger, it detonates the canister. Then once the canister hits the ground, the fire napalm spreads. It's kind of like that, but mixed with, the Wolfpack rounds of Ghorn. There definitely is a learning curve of this weapon, but once you get a hold of it, it's actually really good for ad clear, and not too bad for single target damage. Like I said, I'm not quite sure where the DPS lines up with other weapons in the game because of the fact that everything changed with this update. It's definitely not going to beat some of the exotic snipers in the game for DPS, and to be honest, it probably won't even be like the top 10, top 15 category, but it will be decent for single target damage. But where it really shines is that ad clear. Once you figure out how to use it and use it correctly, it's very easy to wipe out an entire wave of enemies with 1 shot, but at the same time it's still kind of inconsistent. I find myself sometimes shooting it at, for example, in Makris, the group of 4 knights, and it pretty much barely even hurts them. So it's definitely a weapon that you'll get better over time with. Has a pretty big learning curve, but once you get a hang of it, I think it's actually a really fun and solid weapon to use. So is it worth getting? 100%. It's a very fun gun to use, and it's actually pretty good at the same time. So definitely go ahead and get this weapon. I'm not sure if it's gonna be like a must-have in the raid. I'll probably have it on my character. I don't know if I'll necessarily use it, but if there is like a huge ad clear base section, it could be pretty good to pull out in the raid. I think that's pretty much all I want to say about the weapon. Let me know if you guys got this weapon already, or if you're going to go ahead and go get it. And let me know if you're enjoying Shadowkeep so far. I know I sound pretty sick, but I'm actually kind of feeling a little bit better, and I'm hoping by Saturday when the raid comes out, I'll be perfectly normal. That way I don't blow up my voice like yelling for 10 hours or whatever. But I guess we'll just have to see. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.